bloop, 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 bloop. What's next? It's Friday, so anything goes. I don't really have a ton of concrete plans. I just kind of started streaming and talking about stuff. Someone asked me to talk about Cyberpunk 2077, so I did. And yeah, now we're going to probably get into more overtly political things. So yes, Trump tries to leverage the power of the office to subvert Biden win. True. President Donald Trump sought to leverage the power of the Oval Office on Friday in an extraordinary attempt to open a window that would allow him to win the election and subvert President-elect Joe Biden's victory. His pleas to Michigan lawmakers to overturn the will of their constituents appeared to have left them unswayed. Trump summoned a delegation of the battleground states' Republican leadership, including the state's Senate Majority Leader and House Speaker, in an apparent extension of his efforts to persuade judges and election officials in the state to set aside Biden's 154,000 vote margin of victory and grant Trump the state's electors. So, guys, let's jump into this a little bit real quick. I need to put this into non-journalist speak for you guys, but essentially Trump summoned the state's highest legal bodies, the highest elected officials in the state of Michigan, to plead with them to ignore 154,000 votes and to just give him the state. Now, if you guys remember before the election, I was talking about, hey, guys, whether or not you support Biden, I think you should vote for Biden, because the larger the margin he has in the entire country, the harder it is for Donald Trump to actually overturn this election. And the results of this election have led to Donald Trump having to win not just like one state, but like 4 states in order to overturn the results. He asked for non-certification or a substitute slate of electors. Yeah, he essentially was asking to manipulate the electors sent to the Electoral College in order to overturn the 154,000 votes that Biden got over him in Michigan. Trump's efforts extended to other states that Biden carried as well, amounting to an unprecedented attempt by a sitting president to maintain his grasp on power, or in failure to delegitimize his opponent's victory in the eyes of his army of supporters. Rick Hansen, an election law expert and professor who has been meticulously chronicling the 2020 race, wrote that there would be rioting in the streets if an effort was made to set aside the vote in Michigan, calling it tantamount to an attempted coup. And again, guys, it is an attempted coup. We watched the Rudy Giuliani Trump defense team go out there yesterday and talk about how they had libraries of evidence. And then we saw Tucker Carlson run a segment where he's basically like, hey, yeah, we called up the lady who is making these claims that, if true, would be the largest criminal act in like American history, which is absolutely true. If the claims that they were making during the press conference yesterday were true, it would be the largest crime in American history. I've always said traditional Republicans will be the heroes of the Trump era. We are about to see that realized when they tell Trump to get lost. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I don't think there are that many in Congress, but we'll see. So Tucker Carlson, basically his report amounted to, hello, yeah, we reached out to this lady to see what evidence she could present us, and after asking her politely several times if she wanted to come on the show for a week, we would give her an entire week, she said no, and she got angry and told us not to contact her again. These are not the actions of a legal team that has rock-solid evidence of the largest crime in American history. I'm sorry. That's just not the case. So when Donald Trump summons all these people and says, "Hey, please give me the election. Can you give me the election, please? Please, can you give me the election?" These are the last gasps of a dying administration. Um, We should worry because this is profoundly anti-democratic and delegitimizing the victory of Joe Biden in a free and fair election, Hassan wrote on his blog. It is profoundly depressing. We still have to discuss this, but it is extremely unlikely to lead to any different results for the president. Let's see. In a joint statement after the White House meeting, Michigan Senate Majority Leader Mike Shirkey and House Speaker Lee Chatfield said allegations of fraud should be investigated, but indicated they were unmoved by Trump's claims thus far. We've not yet been made aware of any information that would change the outcome of the election in Michigan, and as legislative leaders, we will follow the law and follow the normal process regarding Michigan's electors, just as we have said throughout this election, they said. The Giuliani-Powell press conference looked like a scene from Starship Troopers in which Dems are the insects. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Basically, again, Redmond Barry, like, Starship Troopers is especially apropos for the Trump administration because the Trump administration is objectively fascist. And so, like, yeah, it's not surprising that Starship Troopers, a movie that was made about fascism, would be a go-to comparison because we are getting into the crazy shit these people want to pull. Let's see. The candidate who wins the most votes wins. Wait, the candidates who win the most votes win elections and Michigan's electoral votes, they added. Saying that they used the meeting with Trump to press him for more pandemic aid money for their state. Nice. The president on Friday again falsely claimed victory, declaring as an aside during a White House announcement on drug pricing, "I won, by the way. You know this. We'll find that out." Gosh, how pathetic. The only good ballot is a dead ballot. True. That's basically what they were trying to say. Oh gosh. Oh yeah. What's his butt? The guy who wrote the book. Oh gosh, what's his name? For some reason my brain is saying Ray Harryhausen, but I know that's not correct. Oh gosh, what's his name? Heinlein. Yeah, Robert Heinlein. Yeah, Heinlein was like super pro Vietnam and kind of fashy in his own way. He unironically was like, yeah, fascism would be great in space with alien bugs. Yeah, that's not pretty cool. That's not super cool. Trump's roughly hour-long meeting Friday with Michigan legislators came days after he personally called two local Canvass board officials who had refused to certify the results in Wayne County, Michigan's most populous county, and one that overwhelmingly favored Biden. Two GOP officials eventually agreed to certify. Okay, again, this has been something that's been bothering me about this story. Let's see. He personally called two local Canvass board officials who had refused to certify the results in Wayne County, but the two GOP officials eventually agreed to certify the results. So they did certify the results in Wayne County. But following Trump's call, they said they had second thoughts. The Board of State Canvassers is to meet Monday to certify the statewide outcome, and it is unclear whether Republican members of that panel would similarly balk. Some Trump allies have expressed hope that state lawmakers could intervene in selecting Republican electors. I mean, like, Redmond Barry, like, part of the problem is, like, Trump has like a 95% approval rating in the Republican Party. So like most people in the Republican Party, including most legislators, are pro-Trump. So like that's where my hesitation when it comes to like the good Republicans coming forward and saving the day is coming in, you know? Let's see. And even if Trump does get pushed out, you still have a base that 95% supported Trump, you know? I forgot to turn off the sound on my phone. Gotta turn off the sound on my phone. They are pro-Trump, they have pride, and they are local officials. I think that most people in the Republican Party care more about Trump over party or their local duties. They just know what the laws are and don't want to break them. President could be calling Republican legislators and others to the White House to try and squeeze them, tweeted former Trump National Security Advisor John Bolton. Republicans at all levels, state, county, election board, legislators, must resist this political pressure. White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany told reporters that the meeting with Michigan officials was not an advocacy meeting, and insisted Trump routinely meets with lawmakers from across the country, but such meetings are in fact rare, particularly as Trump has maintained a low profile since the election. Interesting. Trump's play for Michigan was among a series of last-ditch tactics in battleground states that his team is using to challenge his defeat. They also have suggested in a legal challenge that Pennsylvania set aside the popular vote there and pressured county officials in Arizona to delay certifying vote tallies. There have been multiple lawsuits in the battleground states that have failed so far to reverse any votes. In 2 Democratic-leaning counties in Wisconsin, they are recounting votes. Trump's campaign sought to discard tens of thousands of absentee ballots that it alleged should not have been counted. The objections were twice denied by the 3-member Dane County Board of Canvassers on bipartisan votes. Trump was expected to make the same objections in Milwaukee County ahead of a court challenge once the recount concludes. Let's see the actions. Former Bush administration official Christine Todd Whitman called Trump's efforts the actions of a third world dictator. It is not who we are as Americans, and we do not want the public coming away from this thinking this is the norm. There is no basis for trying to overturn this. True! Secretary of State of Georgia is GOP and he's standing his ground? No. Yeah, I mean, there are individual actors. I'm just saying, by and large, he's been enabled by the vast majority of the Republican Party. Republicans have been crawling all over each other to appeal to Trump's motivated base since he won the party nomination. True. Let's see. Some Republicans have embraced Trump's faulty narrative and are helping him spread it in Georgia, where the hand audit found Biden had still won. Governor Brian Kemp said a court order made it so he had to certify the results, but he suggested Trump demand a recount and wanted answers to alleged irregularities. In Minnesota, a state Biden won handily, some GOP officials are now raising concerns over data abnormalities. Biden legal advisor Bob Bauer said Trump's efforts were harmful to democracy. Yeah, again, like, right, Redmond Barry, I really wish you were correct, but like there is a widespread effort among Republicans to delegitimize this election, and it's super dangerous. They're very complicit in Trump's efforts. But I will say that even though the governor of Georgia is siding with Trump, you're right that the Secretary of State of Georgia is not. Doesn't matter if someone does their job properly to keep their seat. That's a good thing, right? It depends as long as they're doing their job and following the law, you know? I think the argument could be made that a lot of these people are not following the law. Let's see. It's an abuse of office. It's an open attempt to intimidate election officials. It's absolutely appalling. It's also pathetic. True.